Draws.
Rock Stars.
Rock Stars Girls Lacrosse.
Rock Stars Girls Lacrosse.
The Rock Stars Girls Lacrosse Show with hosts Ronnie Davis and Craig Spazman Simmons.
Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome back to Rock Stars Girls Lax podcast with me, Ronnie Davis, and the Spazman Simmons.
Number 4.
Woo! Spaz, another week down in high school, girls lacrosse in Section 5.
Yeah.
We have, but let's start first with our Section 5 girls and that are still in the NCAA tournament. Big weekend for some of them.
Now, the big one that jumps out at me, obviously, is Rychuk from Syracuse out of Victor.
Harishuk.
I was told Rychuk.
Rychuk,
so, yep,
Rychuk, Harishuk.
And I am the one that makes a living doing it, so.
But her nickname's Chuck. So we
Chuck, okay.
Yeah, they
All
call
right.
her Chuck up there, so we can
All
just call her Chuck.
Well,
Right.
I'm down with that. The
Yeah,
Chuckster.
she's outstanding. I was hoping to get her on the line today, but that's got to go through compliance first. So
Yes, it does.
hopefully next week we'll get her on the line. But, Syracuse had a big win over Georgetown this weekend. She was a big part of it. I think she had 5 goals. But mention that Georgetown had a big win over UPenn on Friday, which game was played in Syracuse, and I was at the game. And Georgetown won in triple overtime. And a Section 3 girl, Taylor Gebhardt, who's a senior at Georgetown, she scored the last 4 goals of the game. She had 7 goals on the day total. She's from Baldwinsville. And she had the game winner in triple overtime. So a shout-out to Taylor Gebhardt from Section 3. She was outstanding in that game. Then come turn around against Syracuse, they face guarded her. And they face guarded Taylor the whole game. Syracuse had a great game plan on her. And, Syracuse ended up winning that game.
Real quick before we move on, why don't you just tell everybody in a quick, synopsis of what face guarding is? Obviously, I know what it is, but any of the listeners, any of the watchers, what is face guarding?
Yeah, basically the defensive team just shadows the one player. Wherever she goes, her player goes, and makes it really difficult for her to get the ball, off ball, on ball, whatever it may be. And pretty much takes, normally it takes that one player. Usually it's done on a player that's a prolific scorer or, great player for the other team, and kind of limits her opportunities.
She's right in the grill, and Clancy did it on Kuykendall, and I utilized it in basketball. Basically, you are face-to-face no matter what. You're just guarding that, taking that individual out of the play. The only negative about that is a lot of times, 50% of the time, unless you have your head on a swivel, you don't know where the ball is. So a lot of time the ball may be in your vicinity, but you're too busy eyeballing the person that you're face guarding. So you've got to have the player that has the head on a swivel.
Yeah, it definitely, if you're a defensive player and you're going to face guard someone, you have no other responsibility just to make sure that person doesn't touch the ball.
Yep.
And that's what Syracuse did on Taylor Gebhardt this past weekend, and it proved successful for him because she had 7 goals against UPenn, and then I think she only had 1 goal, free position shot against Syracuse. So, Syracuse has a couple Section 5 girls on the team. So we have Emily Harishek, Chuck, but our Section 5 girls are dwindling in the tournament.
Yeah, we lost Cassidy King and Rio from Indy.
We lost
Indy. We lost them.
Caitlin Muir, we lost from Michigan. Maddie Howe, we lost from Notre Dame. But we got some girls at Virginia who are still in the tournament. Megan Plain and Jilly Corvedo, and the assistant coach at Virginia, Lindsay Rogers, is from Rochester and was a great player at Syracuse. And I think she's on the line. Is she on the line here? Lindsay.
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, thank you so much for coming on the Rock Stars Girls Lacrosse Show. We really appreciate it. I believe a congrats is in order. You guys are on to the Final 8? Is that correct?
Yes, of course. Thank you. Yeah. Yep, on to the Elite 8. Yep, and we're headed down to Chapel Hill to play Carolina. But the girls are super excited. They had a great game yesterday. Went a game of waves and in and outs, but they stepped up when they needed to step up. Defense stepped up, attack stepped up when they needed to score, and Charlie and our goalie made some really big saves for us.
Nice. Now, Linz, you're one of the few teams left. I believe there's only 2 teams left that has some Section 5 girls on the team. And, you yourself being from Section 5, going to Syracuse from Irondequoit. Going forward and what you have in your bullpen, how important, is upstate New York and Section 5 to recruiting for Virginia?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, obviously being from an upstate player myself, I just love that, the grit that upstate players bring, and, with all the different coaches helping in clubs and high schools and getting involved in so many different things, these upstate kids are, they're coming against these Long Island players in Maryland and Northern Virginia and all these hotbeds, and they're doing a great job. So I really enjoy having them and that grit that they have, that they come with every day. And, Megan Plain and Jilly Quevedo are 2 upstate kids right now. And they're doing a great job. They work hard every day at practice. They're fighting for spots, and they make everyone better as they make each other better too. So it's really exciting to see that. And, we have some recruits coming in from upstate that we're really, really excited about to, help this program and keep this program from being, a top-notch program that it's always been, and, get us back into these Elite Eights and these Final Fours and, go for some of those national championships.
Hey, Coach, thanks for joining us. This is Craig. I just wanted to ask you, at the end of the regular season, you finished off with a few wins, and then you lost to the Cuse in the ACC championship tournament, but then you came back and you beat Navy now in the NCAAs. How, if not difficult, what was the mindset bouncing back from that loss in the tournament championship to come back and beat Navy, and now you get set for North Carolina?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, obviously the girls were really disappointed in their first round loss at the ACCs. They felt prepared, they felt ready, and the game just didn't swing in our way. But that second half, we went down 7 goals or so in that first half, and they came back to only lose by 2. So they never give up. They have that mentality where they fight till the end. So that was helpful for us, and that's what we needed to play off of. And we had a big break, so our focus was working on us, fixing the things that we needed to fix, the things we wanted to focus on. And the girls are ready. They knew that it was, a lot of players are, they love game day. So to have that many weeks of practice before the next big game, that's a lot to put on their plate with exams and everything, the way the college schedule works. So, their focus was to get to practice, figure out what they needed to do to get better, and, even outside of practice, being there, doing the small things, grabbing a friend, and doing those little things is what really made the difference for us in these weeks. And, the captains were huge in, making sure that the team was all in and ready. And, it doesn't take a lot when all the girls believe already. So they just wanted to come out and show them, the full game that Virginia can play. So I think they did a good job yesterday with that.
Now, before you came on, Linz, we were talking about defensive strategies and face guarding, different opponents. Taylor Gebhardt got face guarded this weekend against Syracuse after coming off a big 7-goal performance against UPenn. Yep. That was a big difference maker, I felt, in the Georgetown-Syracuse game. You got Jamie Ortega, number 3 from Carolina, that you got to match up against this weekend. She's been lighting the world on fire. I think after this past weekend, they held her in check a little bit where some other girls stepped up. I mean, what's, without giving away the plan, what's the idea with Jamie Ortega?
Yeah, I mean, any top player like Ortega, deserves the respect that she'll get. And it just depends on our game plan of, what we're looking for. But I think any player like that, every defense will think about what they think will work best. So if that's the face guard or, if it's just a, man-to-man or zone, all of us will put together what our best game plan is. We'll watch film and we'll kind of decide from there. The nice thing is we have played UNC before. So we know what we've tried and what we think works and what, we think doesn't work. So it's definitely going to be, a team effort. And I think UNC, the nice thing for Jamie Ortega at UNC is that, they have a lot of other threats too, that they can kind of look for. So, we have to make sure that what we do makes sense for everyone that is attacking us at that end.
Thanks, Coach. I'm going to throw a twofold question at you. First, the end of the season, our sectionals, in fact, we're wrapping up the high school season this week here in Section 5. And we all want to talk about rankings and seedings and heading into the NCAA tournament. How important are rankings and seedings to you as a coach and maybe to the players? Did the NCAA get it right? And do you have a preference of an opponent that if you move on, I know we don't like to do this, but prognosticate just a little bit. Do you have a preference of an opponent you would like to play in the next round if you get there?
Okay, so seedings, I mean, they're huge. They're really important. I do think for college lacrosse, so many of us are they're student athletes. They're not just athletes. So they have huge academic responsibilities on their plate at the time that our season gets to be the most pivotal, So that's what's important about, winning the games all throughout the season so that you can set yourself up in this NCAA bracket to be in a good spot. The 6th seed for us was huge. We haven't had that probably in 4 or 5 years. So to have that first round bye, to have the girls at home, give them a couple extra days of practice and focusing as well on their exams it was great, and it gives them an extra boost of confidence. It gives them that, time to be in their comfort zone, which is really nice for them, and it gives them that time. So I think that's huge there. I think, it's hard. This season was different. There was a lot of different upsets. There were a lot of teams that kind of came out and, created a name for themselves and gave themselves, some reputation that they deserved a good seed and things like that. So I think for some of those teams, that was great to see. And then the hardest part was that it made a lot of teams on that bubble. So there were going to definitely be teams that, just didn't get in and things like that. The team that comes to mind for me is Duke right on that bubble, that we were surprised not to see, jump in at the end. For playing the next round, UNC is our next opponent, and, we're ready for any challenge and any task at hand. So it's mostly about Virginia at this point and focusing on us and, what we need to do. And then for the Final Four, they're all capable. They are all great teams just like us. So I don't really have a preference. I have played my alma mater a lot lately. So, you never know. But, no, I think our focus is on ourselves, on doing our game plan and believing in our journey and what we've done to prepare.
So I don't know if you've been following, speaking of alma maters, but Section 5, Irondequoit had a big win the other night over Fairport. Irondequoit actually is on a huge run right now in Class B.
Yes.
And but we know that you have a little sentimental piece in Fairport. My Canandaigua team actually plays Fairport tonight, and we talked about face guarding and so forth, and that's our plan. I got a call scheduled for Morgan Schwab soon here. But, she's probably listening to the podcast. I'm going to face guard her. I'm not going to allow her to touch the ball as least as possible. Do you have any words of wisdom for Morgan in this game tonight?
Yes. No. Well, I think that's probably a smart decision for you. So that's pretty good. We love Morgan here at Virginia, of course. So we wish everyone luck, but, you got to love Morgan for us. Yeah, I think the biggest thing about a face guard is that, they have to react to what the attacker is doing. So I think if Morgan does a good job of involving her teammates to get her other teammates open, that'll allow her to get open as well. So I think the biggest thing for us is that when you're face guarding someone, you're hoping that attacker gets frustrated. So that attacker can stay patient and work to get her teammates open. It's going to get her open as well.
All right. Well, we definitely know Morgan is a very good player. She's actually going to come up later in the show on our Section 5, girls on Section 5 top players. But Lindsay, thanks so much for coming on the show. We really appreciate it. We're going to be following your team and wish you luck throughout the playoffs here. If hopefully you get through this weekend, and then we can get you back on the show to talk about what it's going to be like for the Cavs to be back to the Final Four. When is the last time that Virginia was in the Final Four?
So it was 2014, I believe, 2014 season.
Okay. So
and they upset UNC in the quarterfinals.
Gotcha. And UVA is one of a small group of teams that has won a national title. And I believe, was Julie Myers the coach at that point?
Yeah, so we've won 3 national championships. So Jane Miller, who is actually our administrator, supervisor too, she won when Julie was a player, and then Julie was an assistant coach with her when they won their second one, and then Julie won as a head coach. So Julie has been a part of all 3 national championships here at Virginia, so it's really special for that, and she just, she knows what it takes. She was a player for it, she was a coach here for it, and now she's a head coach for it. So she's been a great leader for us and helping us, help build the tradition of UVA lacrosse and getting to that Final Four and going after that championship.
Well, that's great. And as you have seen over the past few weeks, there's been some coaching vacancies pop up in the NCAA Division I ranks. If you had a crystal ball in front of you, can you give us your crystal ball pick on who's going to get the Ohio State job?
Oh, I don't know. It's, we're still in the season, so we haven't heard all the chatter yet.
Okay.
Of who's going for that job. So, hopefully we won't hear too much chatter till we're done with the Final Four, and hopefully holding that trophy. So that's where our focus is. So I have not heard that yet, but I mean, that's a big job. So I have a feeling there will be a lot of names getting thrown into that hat.
Gotcha. Well, once again, Linz, best of luck coming up this weekend. Hope to talk to you after the weekend. If we are talking after the weekend, that means you won. So thanks so much, and go Hoos, right?
Yeah, thank you, and good luck tonight with your game.
All right. Thank you so much. Good talking to you.
Okay. Bye.
All right. So Lindsay Rogers, coach at UVA.
That was cool.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I love her. She's a great person. Always takes my calls. And it's,
now, is she one of the coaches that you're talking to your daughter about playing for?
Yeah, the Virginia is, in that
Okay.
realm right now. We have it down to 5, and UVA's definitely in the top 5.
Okay.
So,
so at what point do I get the other 4 out of you?
We're not
and moving on.
Probably a little closer to August and September, but UVA is definitely there.
Yeah.
And like I said, Virginia's got 2 kids, Jilly Covedo and Megan Plain, who are there. Lindsay's there from Irondequoit. So I think Virginia has really done a great job this year. But it's really disappointing to see the lack of Section 5 kids. Now you got, Emily at Syracuse, and and those 2, a couple of them fell out. Maddie Howe, I was hoping to get her on the line today. I think she's traveling still. So, it's just great that these Section 5 kids are there. I just wish there was a little more, because I can see a ton of Section 3 kids sprinkled over all these.
I think Scott said that Morgan's on the line.
Morgan Schwab, UVA commit. She's a 2020 from Fairport. We've talked about her several times on the show. Morgan, how's it going today?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. Morgs, here with Craig the Spazman Simmons.
Hey, Morgan, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Awesome.
The Spazman was actually the one that gave you the Pizza Chef Player of the Game last year, Morgan.
Yeah.
That was a big accolade for her, Spaz.
It's cool, and you're talking about the college players. It's cool watching them all, knowing that at one point in time I interviewed them or gave them an away. It's pretty cool.
Yeah. I was kidding.
Really cool.
I was kidding her last year. I told her that the Pizza Chef wanted her to come out and do a commercial with her in a Pizza Chef outfit. So, Morgs, we just got off the phone with Lindsay Rogers, your future coach at UVA. Speaks really highly of you. We told her about the matchup tonight between Canandaigua and Fairport, and I wasn't shy to tell her that I'm going to limit your opportunities to touch the ball. How do you feel about tonight's game?
Ronnie, I know we've been talking about this all season. I know you're very excited to pull out whatever you're going to pull out, but you don't really know what we have under our sleeves tonight, so you can't really make that assumption that you're going to be shutting down a certain player when her team is full of very capable players that can step up as well.
That's true.
That's a very diplomatic answer.
Great point. But
I like that.
I always say, I like when I go to these games or ask the questions. I got to ask you the tough question, though, because that's what I do on the show. What happened against Irondequoit? What do we need to do to get that straightened out?
That game was a really competitive game. Honestly, I think that we just gave them too many 8 meters. I mean, the score, I can't really remember the exact score, but we lost by 1 in overtime, and pretty much all their girls were off 8 meters. And that was just due to, lack of the slide being there on an earlier time, or even just not even going up and playing good body defense, and that's something that our defense has to work on, and myself included, I played a lot of midi too. I think just being having more communication on the defensive end and then finishing more offensively, the game goes two ways, and I think if we produce more on both ends, then we won't get ourselves going into an overtime kind of situation.
So Morgan, every time I look at stats, all right, I look at first goals and assists, and then I go down, I go to the GLAX website, and it seems that the predominance of the time, the girls that are at the top of the goals and assists are also at the top of the draw control, whether it's attack, whether it's midi. What is it about players that makes them so good and important at both facets at the same time?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I think a lot of people that, do produce a lot on the teams love to be on the draw circle, because that's kind of everyone says win the draw, rule the world. That's such a true statement, I think. And being able to go in the circle and fight for the ball and then bring it down on the offense and translate that into a goal or even a defensive stop is huge. So, speaking personally for me, I love being on the draw circle because it gives me the chance to get the ball early in my stick or even just get the ball down to my team. So I think, if you're a big contributor on a team, it's really hard to stand on the string line and kind of watch your own teammates get it when you could be helping.
Morgs, you've had some accolades that, over the past couple of years, and, my conversations with you, they don't seem to faze you at all. You're probably the biggest one so far has been being a member of the U19 U.S. training team. That experience, not making it, there was disappointment of you not making the team after, when they got it down to the final 20, however players. There was the emotion of excitement when you were just asked to try out. Everything in between there were ups and downs with that. But at the end of the day, I can't help to think that that's been your biggest accomplishment. Tell us a little bit about that journey.
Yeah, hands down. I mean, you nailed it. Definitely the coolest thing I've ever done with my lacrosse journey. Being able to go and compete last August for a spot on that team, and then hearing them roll off my number when they were kind of listing off the 36 girls who would be on the training team was hands down the coolest experience of my life. That weekend itself, being around such girls with so much talent and just coaching staff that just want to push you, and that's kind of just a taste of what the next level feels like, and I just loved it. And I'm so honored that I was able to be on that team. Things happen, and it is what it is, and I'm just really happy that I was even a part of it and even had that experience, because a lot of people can't say that they did that, and that's something I'll never forget. And I'm so happy for the girls that did make it through and who are going to go down to Canada this summer and compete for the the world title. I hope they get it. I know they will, because they're amazing. And overall, I just think a once in a lifetime experience that was really fun and really enjoyable, and I learned a lot. And now I know what the next level looks like.
So Morgan, tonight's going to be a fun game between you and Canandaigua. When you look on paper, you're pretty much evenly matched in goals against, and the top goal scorers between yourself and Lexi Bernicki. One facet that jumps out to me is Canandaigua has a big advantage on you guys in ground balls. And what's going to be the most important factor for either team to take away the dub in this game tonight?
I'd say who kind of wants it more. I mean, my team is coming off of a hard loss. We've been at the lowest point of our season at one point on a three-game loss. We've really come back from it. And, looking at something when it comes to ground balls, that's just hard. That's, it's 50-50 ground ball. You can either get it or you can't. You have to want it. You have to fight for your teammates who are doing everything and translating these opportunities into goals or into stops defensively. The little things is what counts. And I think as you gain more experience playing lacrosse and as you get older, you realize that, the ground ball can be a deciding factor in a win in overtime and a win and not. So, yeah, I think it's just going to come down to who wants it more and who is going to put it all out there for 50 minutes.
Now, Morgs, you and I have talked about this before about, the high school experience only being 2.5 months of a full year. You got Virginia. You're committed to Virginia. They're really, really excited about you coming there. I know that you're really excited to get there, but the work still has to be done between now and then. And, I always tell a lot of people that, Morgan's got that switch. Morgan's, going to be very successful at Virginia. How excited about going to Virginia, and how excited are you about putting the work in? It's going to, needs to be done to get there. You're going to play, if you're going to play or not.
Yeah. Yeah, words literally can't even describe how excited I am to go. I mean, every time I go down there, every time I talk to my coaches, I get more and more excited just because literally my dream school. I've been wanting to go there since I was 7, literally. And, that decision is like the best decision I've ever made in my entire life. I could not be more excited to go, pursue my academics and athletic career there. When it comes to the hard work, I mean, that's something that I signed up for when I was a freshman, and my thoughts on it hasn't changed since then. Like, I'm going to go there and I'm going to work just as hard as anybody else who wants to be on the field, and then, see what happens. But I'm going to put got to do everything I can now, because when I get there, I want to play, I want to contribute, and I want to help them win national championships. So whatever I got to do now until then I'm going to do it.
Yeah, this is Craig again. College is a different animal. I mean, they expect you to live, eat, and breathe the sport that you're playing. Excuse me. So you had just mentioned that you've been playing since 7. I think that's what you just said. So between then and now, are there just a couple people that you've run into that have just been head and shoulders above everybody else as far as, mentoring you or being under their tutelage, or, somebody that has inspired or motivated you along the way?
Absolutely. And, I'm on the phone with him right now. I mean, Ronnie Davis is legit the person who put, that turn in my lacrosse career. I went to him, I think, in 7th grade or 6th grade. And, he transformed me as a player, transformed the way I play. It's just, I give a lot of credit to him, and what I've done since then has been really due to him. And obviously I have a trainer that I work with, Shannon Brinson, who I work with a lot during the week. He helps me with my footwork, and those two alone have really translated my game. But I couldn't ask for better mentors, honestly, in my whole lacrosse career. I find myself, meeting really cool people every time I go somewhere. And those people kind of really inspire me just to keep going. And like you said earlier, wanting to put in that work, I want to do it because of the people who have done it for me. They've put in a ton of work for me to get to where I am, and I kind of want to show them that was all worth it. And I give a lot of shout-outs to those two who have done a lot for me. And, of course, my Fairport lacrosse coaching staff has been awesome for me, too. And I really can't complain about anybody I've ever come into contact with who kind of inspired me just to keep doing me and keep, pursuing my goals, because, if you want it really badly, then you have to go get it. But it's definitely the people that guide you, who help you get there, for sure.
Well, thank you, Morgan. I appreciate that. And as you know, I feel the same about you. So I wish you the best of luck tonight, as you know. But, I'm with you, lose or tie. But it'll be a fun game tonight. Please make sure that you prepare Mel and Tim for what we're gonna face guard you. And
Mel and Tim don't need to be prepared.
Paul, believe me.
They
Listen,
are ready. They got it.
I like this kid. I like her,
she's
man.
great. But,
Absolutely.
her parents are going to be meeting me at the gate afterwards.
No, they're not.
Yeah, if you need some back, let me know.
They're the best. They handle it just fine. I'm going to handle it just fine. And you know what?
I got a text.
The ending of this game. You just got to go and you got to play.
All right. I got a text earlier, Morgan, from your mother saying, "I know your game plan." Is you just ragging me about tonight, but I don't hide from the game plan. Morgan's a great player, and Fairport's got a lot of capable kids. But
I know we're done with this interview, but Morgan, along the lines of what you're talking about, how do you separate the feelings that you have for this guy and your family and all that stuff off the field from when you're on the field? Is it just a switch that you hit? And I mean, because there's a lot of that.
Honestly, it's easier said than done. I love Ronnie, and he's the best, and I would do anything for him. But, before the game, he's the best. He's my guy. During the game, not so much. We turn that switch off pretty fast, beat the team, and then afterwards, we're giving hugs, we're talking about it, but it's a pretty easy switch to turn on and off for
Sure.
me. I mean, I want to win the game, so.
All right, Morgs, thanks so much. I know you got to get to class. Good luck tonight. Well, I'll see you before the game, I'll see you during the game, and I'll see you after the game.
All right, sounds good. Thank you guys so much.
She is, Baz. She's a great kid.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. She sounds like a good interview one way or the other.
Yeah,
I know that much.
Let me tell you, she's got that switch in practice, too. So
sure.
If I'm coaching the defense, okay, her switch when we're practicing, at Monster, she's, she wants to score. She wants to win. So it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
You know, our relationship. You know, when that game starts, okay, she's in it.
Well,
She's
we've talked about this before, but after every game, and you see this in hockey and lacrosse, it's another one of those parallels. But during the game, it's all out. Afterwards, you're taking pictures together. These are our club members, our frenemies, as they called Savage and Blakesley in that article. So it's fun. It's fun to see. It's fun to watch.
And there's going to be some, you know, as we talk about, you know, back to Section 5 and the classes, and you know, you mentioned earlier that there wasn't a ton of games this week that meant a lot.
Yeah.
You know, let's start with Class A with, you know, the rankings. If everything stays status quo, if Fairport or if Pittsford wins and Rush Henrietta wins, they still remain Rush Henrietta's number 1 going into the sectionals, and Pittsford's number 2, and obviously Fairport will be number 3. Is that correct?
I lost my tab.
Okay. Well, I wrote it down.
You wrote it down, but I lost my
down.
tab. I'm so unprofessional.
Which the only, you know, the big difference in that for Class A is who's going to play a real competitive game in the semifinals. You know, it looks like Pittsford will play Fairport.
When it really counts.
Right. Rush Henrietta will get either Greece or Hilton, which, you know, that has seemed to be a real competitive game. But anything can happen any day. You know, anything can happen any day. But
you still have to get off the bus.
You do. You got to get off the bus. But then, you know, the Section 5 championship will be, you know, obviously the winner of Fairport and Pittsford, and then probably RH. So
are we prognosticating at this point, or are we waiting?
I'm going to prognosticate. Like I said, any given night, and like I said, if Fairport runs into or Pittsford runs into a Fairport team that's on fire, you know, Fairport can win that game, especially with a player like Morgan out there. So, you know, with that being said, I do think it's going to be Rush Henrietta Pittsford in the finals.
Okay, and are you picking a winner between them yet?
I'm not.
Not going that far yet?
No. Pittsford won the first matchup this year.
Yeah, they did.
But you know, Rush Henrietta's got some really good kids, and they're very well coached, and it's gonna be one heck of a game. I can tell you that.
I'm leaning towards Pittsford.
Okay.
I am. I don't know. They're too reliable.
I'd like to see Pittsford because my daughter plays on that team. But you know, like I said, any given day, Pittsford really handled them the first time around, you know, during league play, and the midfielders handled them. You know, the Sampone twins and Casey Mooney did the majority of the managing of that game.
Yeah.
And so I can only think that the coaching staff from RH is going to go back and, you know, when they get ready to play Pittsford again, they're going to look at the film and probably make some adjustments to try to manage those 3 midfielders again.
If there's any group of coaches that can do something like that, it is the RH coaches.
Without a doubt. Jim DeWald and Craig Chamberlain, they're going to sit and watch film. They're going to come up with a way. But Class B,
loaded,
wide open. And
top 6 teams, 4 losses.
Yeah.
I mean, Irondequoit in 6th, 11-4. Brighton 10-4. They're 5. Go up to Penfield, then Mercy, Spencerport. Canandaigua sitting at the top.
Canandaigua was at top, but
as of now,
I think in the last couple of weeks we've kind of neglected Mercy and Irondequoit a little.
Yes. Yep.
The Mercy's, you know, done some good things this year. They got 11 wins. Irondequoit's on a run. You know, they beat Fairport this past week. They beat Brighton. So I wasn't giving them a lot of support, a lot of credit at first, but they made some good wins, and they got some good players. Coach's daughter, Marina Butler, she's scoring some goals. Mara Brennan, you know, she's scoring some goals. So Irondequoit cannot be left out of the conversation. That's for sure.
I think with Mercy, the issue is that they play a lot of, you know, private Catholic schools, and nobody knows. I don't know a whole lot about them. I don't know if you do. I haven't seen a whole lot of it. So you tend to, I don't know, maybe as far as strength of schedule goes, kind of, you know, undervalue that just a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, we don't know a lot about the teams they're playing, but the one thing I do know about them is their personnel. We talked about Kristen Johnson. She's lighting.
She was in my top 5 a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, she's still killing it. She's still doing really well. And, you know, they got a midfield line of Kristen Johnson, Caroline Murphy, and Carly Harnischfigger, who are really, really all dynamite players. You know, Sammy Carey is back now. She was out for several weeks with mono. So she's back. So she definitely adds to that. So I think that, you know, Mercy, you know, is going to definitely be a contender. Defensively, you know, they have Aaron Andrucci back there. They have Gianna Kataya, who's a Penn State commit that transferred in. So, you know, like I said, I can't speak much about the teams that they've played, and, you know, they got a lot of victories, but their personnel is very good, and a group of kids that can win on any given day.
And you've seen all of these girls. You are deeply embedded in the girls game. There's no question about that. So the good thing about it, you can back up everything you're saying with experience. You've seen all of them.
Yeah, I go watch the games, and, you know, my Monster Club team, you know, we have 260 kids in the club.
And you've coached a lot of them too.
And they've all played for me at one time or another.
Yeah.
So they are that's why I'm so familiar with them, and I say they're very dangerous because I know that the way they play at their club level, they go out here on a scholastic field, they can be very dangerous to get.
Now, personally speaking, if you know these ladies from Mercy personally, are they the kind of ladies that like flying under the radar as they have been, as they are, and then just jumping right out and saying, hey, here we are at the exact moment that they need to do that?
I think they're pretty realistic about it. I think that they know that they're beating up on teams that aren't so good. But they've had, you know, they beat Victor. You know, they got run off the field by Rush Henrietta the other day, but maybe that was just a bad day for them. But Rush Henrietta is really good. So it's really tough to tell. They've been without Sammy Carey, and they've made a run without Sammy Carey. So I think once she gets back into shape, that she'll definitely be a good contributor for them. I think she's still their third leading scorer, and she's been out 5 or 6 games.
All right, so in Class A, you predicted who you think is going to be in the final.
Yes, Rush Henrietta and Pittsburgh.
Tell me who's going to be in the final of Class B.
That's a tough one because
it's loaded,
it
dude.
Is. The 6 teams are
those 6 teams, but the fringe teams, Victor, Thomas, you can't. I mean, these are teams that can step up at any point in time, and especially when it's needed.
Yeah, I know.
Man.
So you're talking about 8 teams.
Yeah.
You know, any given night. You know, right now it's Canandaigua's in first, Spencerport's in second, Mercy's in third, Penfield's in fourth, Brighton's in fifth.
Yeah.
Brighton, you know, beat Penfield handedly. You know, they beat Canandaigua. They lost to Spencerport. Spencerport lost to Canandaigua. Spencerport beat Penfield. It's all over the place.
It is.
So, and then Irondequoit coming in, you know, they beat both Brighton and they beat Fairfield.
So you're dodging that question.
I'm not dodging it. I don't have a crystal ball as far as I think the top 4 will end up. I think it's going to be Canandaigua, Spencerport, Brighton, and Penfield. I don't know how those 4 teams are going to align after this week as far as seedings. We all still have to win our first round games, so upsets can happen.
Yep.
But I think you'll see those 4 in
the top 4.
The top 4, and that'll be the semifinals.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. And then I couldn't even begin to judge who's going to win, you know, any of those games.
Class B is, like I said, it's loaded. I know it's cliche, but man, it is.
You know, when I took the job, I got to be honest, I thought that, you know, looking at, you know, the kids that I had coming back and so forth, I thought it was going to be a little different. I didn't think there'd be, you know, 8 really good teams. But that was my mistake, you know. But after watching the games and doing my homework and going to games night in and night out and watching these teams play and watches what these coaches are doing, it's going to be a dogfight at the end.
But based upon conversations that you and I have had, and not to bring our personal stuff into what we're doing here, but you said that one of the reasons you came down from the college level to come down here was more competition.
The competition,
and you're getting that now in Class B.
Night in and night out, I'm getting it. I never thought, you know, like I said, we traveled to South Jeff, right? They're a Class D team, I believe.
Yeah.
You see, I thought that, you know, I've watched the tape on them. I thought the margin of victory would have been a little higher, but they came to play.
That's one of those things where you look on paper and it should go one way. And I did say, though, before the broadcast on Chosen Spot Radio, that you can listen on demand, that we always talk about, oh, it's a Class D against a Class B. That didn't come to fruition. And I had a feeling before that game even started that was not going to be applicable. You know, the difference in a B school and a D school. They took it to you. And I have to wonder, some of the intangibles, that field was Jurassic. It was matted, worse than my hair when I get up in the morning. Do you think the field conditions might have had something to do with the turnovers that Canandaigua was experiencing, or the bus ride? I mean,
well, sure. Thank God the bus ride was only an hour and 15 minutes. We were supposed to be scheduled to play.
Praise the Lord.
2.5 hours up there, and they didn't have the proper fields to play. So, but both teams had to play on that field. I felt that that we just didn't take advantage of our opportunities as we should have. We won, I think, the majority of the draws, and as we talked about earlier,
11-4.
We'd throw it away or turn it over. And what good is having the draw control if you're going to turn it over?
Well, the thing is you didn't capitalize, and they did.
Mm-hmm.
They did capitalize on the mistakes. That was a good game, and I could watch Paige Crandall play goalie all day long. Play goal all day long.
Paige Crandall is a great goalie for them.
She's always doing something.
Yeah, she's I coached the Haudenosaunee U19 national team. She's my goalie on that team.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I'm very familiar with her, and I tried to prepare my kids for her.
Sure.
Say, listen, do not throw the ball
anywhere near her, because she had a handful of takeaways.
She did, and clearly we didn't listen.
Now. Could you take some credit for the style of goal that she plays? Because, like I say, she's very active. You see some goalies that are just tinking the pipes to see where they are, and they don't move. She's coming 5, 6, 7 yards out of goal to cut off a pass, to cut down a passing lane, that kind of thing. Was some of that your teaching? Because you have said you're a defensive-minded coach. Wasn't that you that said that?
No, well, I definitely do focus on defense, but no, I can't take credit for Paige. Jen Williams, her coach up there, has her the majority of the time.
Very well coached.
She's very well coached, and
yeah.
Jen does a great job. So, Paige she's a difference maker, and as a goalie can be. If a goalie gets hot, she can be that difference maker in a game. And my kids just got to be better. My kids got to be better shooters, and that's what we're going to focus on over the next couple of weeks as far as leading into sectionals and so forth.
Well, now's the time to figure that out.
Right.
So you want to talk about C?
Yeah, let's go to C. We got HFL, Eastridge. Who else is in there?
Wayne and Geneva. Now, HFL with a 4-10 record is at the top, and that just kind of brings to light the things we've been talking about, through the podcasts that we've done, that HFL will be there at the end when they need to be, and they're there now. So they're there now, and
yeah, they got through the tough part of their schedule, but we've talked about it. They're going to be, they're probably going to win Section 5, and then they're going to go and meet up with a Long Island team in the first round in Cortland and have some trouble, some difficulties, but. You can look at it a couple different ways, especially if you're a parent, in HFL, and obviously the coaches look. I as I said, I was really looking forward to coach against Coach O'Connell and Coach Mashesky and Coach Pound, and I just felt that HFL probably didn't play their best game against us. They've had some good games. I've seen them play against Pittsford, but in order for them to succeed against the Long Island team when they get there, even Buffalo for that matter, they're going to have to get the kids to buy in, get the kids to believe in what they're teaching, and try to go on a run. If that doesn't happen, it's going to end shortly.
I think you also hit a nail on the head when you said believe. They've got to believe as much in themselves as much as what the coaches are trying to run at them.
Yeah, definitely. And
absolutely.
We talk about the kids, the rock stars from Section 5 and where they're going to school, and sometimes I think kids get caught up in that. And because HFL's got some kids that are going to Division I schools. Even with Morgan Schwab, she'll tell you, don't believe the hype. It doesn't matter where we're committed to go to school, right? We're committed to go to school there. But, there's a lot of kids from Section 5 that have went to these big Division I schools, and it hasn't worked out for them. And some of them transfer to other Division I schools where it does work out for them. Others, transfer to maybe a Division III school, and it works out for them. So, the hype now, we got kids that from Section 5, we got kids that are going to Syracuse, we got kids that are going to Northwestern, Corkinell's going to Northwestern and all that. The game is so different at that level that, these kids better stop reading their newspaper clippings.
Sure. But how much of that falls on the proliferation is the word I used last week talking to Coach Hiller.
Yeah, Coach Amani Hiller.
Yeah. To these scholarship companies that are going up and telling all the parents, hey, you give us $5,000, we'll get your kid in a D1 school, that kind of thing. And then all the kids are conditioned by watching ESPN and all the sports to, believe the hype. So,
well, I think, there's not in girls lacrosse, there's not a ton of those companies. They try to get in, for that, but the club coaches handle 99% of the recruitment for these kids.
Good point.
And the fact of the matter is that we can make the relationships happen. We can connect the kids with the schools. The college coaches are going to come watch the kids play, right? And John Desko from Syracuse, he gave an interview a couple years back. He said 50% of the kids that we give scholarships to and recruit, in our recruiting group, work out. So if you got a recruiting class of 8, 4 of them are going to work out for you, and 4 of them aren't. And those are the percentages that everyone plays. There's no way that a college, whether you're North Carolina or you're Nazareth College, your recruiting class, there's no possible way that every kid is going to work out for you. It's the numbers don't work.
I was going to say the numbers are.
I mean, you'll end up with if each recruiting class is of 8, right? Over 4 years, you're going to have 32 kids. 32 kids don't see the field. So, there's going to be transfers. There's going to be kids that aren't happy. But like I said, it's so important to stop reading your own newspaper clippings. And things like the Under Armour, I don't know if the Under Armour top 42 All-Americans
All-American.
came out. All-Americans came out, right? That is nothing more than, a parent.
I was going to say there's a lot of politics and favoritism and other things involved in that, right?
I don't know if there's politics or favoritism, but what I will say is the squeaky wheel will get the grease there. Mm-hmm. So when you're a parent and you nominate your kid and you send them all these stats and then you keep emailing them, hey, my daughter just scored 10 points this past weekend. My daughter just scored 10 points again this game. Yeah. My daughter just had 15 draw controls against a team you beat 20-0. When you keep sending that stuff to Under Armour, that's what they go by. I mean, let's think about it. Is there any rhyme or reason on the Under Armour All-American who they're picking? Last year in Section 5, we didn't have any. Mm-hmm. This year we have 2. So that's really all it is. So parents got to understand that. I got 5 phone calls. Well, how does my kid get to be an Under Armour All-American? All right, start emailing Under Armour when you're in 9th grade, and you probably got a shot.
Sure.
So that's my take on, the don't believe the hype, statement, right?
I'll put that right in the headline. Ronnie talks about not believing the hype.
Yeah, kids got to stay grounded.
That's good stuff. So let's talk about Class D. 3 teams have basically separated themselves in Class D. Number 1, Pelmac. Number 2, Minders Romulus. And number 3, Penn Yan.
Yep.
Pelmac 11-3, Minders Romulus 12-2, and Penn Yan 9-3. Mm-hmm. But you look at that and you see Minders Romulus. That nothing to besmirch them, but I think strength of schedule kind of comes into play with Minders Romulus.
Sure.
I think Pelmac they play a lot of upper they play a lot of bigger schools. They played Canandaigua. They play bigger schools. So I think when you're talking about Class D, not only based on record and not only by what they have on the field, I just think, the strength of record and what they're doing, Coach E.J. Burson, they're just a class of Class D.
They are, and they got 3 players that are outstanding, Savage, Arnold.
The Trinity.
Yeah, and Jamie Walker. 3 great players. They're all top Division I kids. And the fact of the matter is that they're in the same situation as HFL. They're going to win their section.
Yeah.
They're going to beat whoever the Buffalo team is, and then they're going to get chomped like an alligator when it comes to the Long Island team at Cortland.
Yeah, they might get past the Section 3 team or whatever to get to that point.
Well, Section 3 actually is at the end. So this year, Section 3 has the cakewalk until the championship game.
Okay.
So they're going to face Long Island in the semifinals.
Okay, I got you.
The mighty Long Island, right?
Yep, absolutely.
And at those lower, at those C&D schools in Long Island, everyone plays lacrosse in Long Island. So they're really strong at those levels.
Yeah.
So, unfortunately but you can't take nothing away from Pelmac. They can't help how many kids they have going to their school, right?
Yeah.
They can't help how many lacrosse girls are playing lacrosse. They can only do the best with what they have, and I think that's what they've done.
Sure.
So, all right, that's our 4-class wrap up. Okay, now I guess we got to go into the mighty top 5 at 5.
Top 5 and Section 5. Ooh, Fitz with the tunes. I love it.
I know, right? We're getting
right on it, Fitz. You're the man. Fitz, that's at ROCVOX too, by the way. This is ROCVOX, ROCVOX.
Yeah, and my top 5 is Fairport Hot's top 5.
Yours is Fairport. Can I make mine Chosen Spot Radio top 5?
Absolutely, yeah.
All right, because you can listen to Canandaigua games as well as other Section 5 games at ChosenSpotRadio.com.
All right. The one thing I was going to ask you, Spaz, is we're getting a ton of viewers, right? After last week's podcast, we're getting a ton of them. How do we get the audience to be more interactive? They got to email us, right? They got to email us.
They do have to
thoughts.
email us and Fitz, bust in my ear one more time what that email is. rockstarsglax@gmail.com. We also have the Facebook page, Ronnie, at rockstarsglax, okay? And we are very open to feedback, and if you have any questions, if you agree or disagree, not that we're going to worry about it. I'm just saying whether you agree or disagree with our, top 5 in Section 5, if you have any questions you want us to ask, coaches or somebody on the line when we get them, rockstarsglax@gmail.com.
And we've gotten several emails and talked about different things that people have concerns about or comments about and their comments, and we want more. We want more to feedback on what we're doing, and even the bad ones. You can email us anything you like. We may play it and we may not, right?
Hey, who goes first this week?
I do. You went first 2 weeks in a row.
Did I?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I'm control freak.
That's okay. You want to go first? You can.
No, go ahead.
All right.
Fairport Hots.
The Fairport Hots. Top 5. Number 5 for me, Rhea Davis, Rush Henrietta.
Okay.
Yeah, she's
left-hander.
Lefty. She continues to light the lamp. She's doing a lot of good things for them, and I got Rhea Davis.
Okay.
All right. My number 4. All right. I got to go. Out of my top 5, 2 of them are going to be trios, and I got to go with, again, because I've watched the Spencerport Pittsford game. Spencerport was up big on Pittsford in the first half, 8-2, and Pittsford charged their way back and won the game.
Yep. And
due to no small part, the Sampone Mooney midfield.
Okay.
They took control of the second half, and they came back and won that game. And that was a big win for Pittsburgh, but it was even a bigger win for Canandaigua.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So
you got the trio. I'm the one that started the trio.
I know. I
thing,
love the
so
trio.
you know.
I love the trio.
No rules.
And my number 3, I also have another trio because I just can't give one without the other anymore.
Sure.
They're just too dominant. They're doing a great job. Is the Rude O'Neill Herod trio at midfield.
Absolutely. I would put that trio against any, I want to say Section 5, but any high school middies.
Yeah.
I would. That's how good I think they are.
They're doing that well.
Yeah.
And my number 2 is still just steamrolling over everybody, and she got face guarded Friday night and still managed to, I think, score 3 goals. She was a little disappointed in the first half because we weren't running plays off her, but we wanted to kind of see what they were going to do with her, and they face guarded her. But Lexi Bernicki is week in, week out playing like a rock star.
Do you hear what I call her now?
No.
I call her the big rig.
The big rig?
Because she just drives right through she fights through I don't think she wants to call. She doesn't want to call. She wants to battle. She wants to get inside the 8, and she wants to, I don't want to give too much away. She wants to use her size to her advantage. Mm-hmm. Let's put it that way. So,
and the funny thing is, I'm starting to get a lot of phone calls from other college coaches. Where's she going? Wait, is she still available? And she's committed to Niagara.
Yeah.
She committed early there before she got to play this season in the summer. But I think that Lexi better keep her phone on because I think there's going to be a lot of interest in her.
Yeah, they'll be calling.
The
big rig.
Then my number 1, we've talked to her early on the show. I got to give it to her, Morgan Schwab. She scored, I think, 8 or 7 goals against Victor in a comeback win. Night in and night out, she's putting her minutes in. She's leading that team. Team's on a down streak, but she is so focused on just making sure that her team sticks together, through thick and thin. They know they're going to be that third spot in the playoffs, and she is definitely doing everything she can to keep that team up, especially getting points on the board.
I like it. That was nice.
Thanks.
Now, the Chosen Spot Radio, top 5 in Section 5. With that said, I have to disclaim, I've been getting my chops busted a little bit, that it's not the top 5, it's the Canandaigua top 5.
Canandaigua top 5.
Yeah, well, I'm not going to make people happier by my top 5.
Okay.
Anybody who thinks there's too many Canandaigua players in my top 5 will not be happy.
Okay.
I guarantee you that. But I have to preface that my top 5 with saying you are exposed to much more girls lacrosse than I am. Like I've said, if I'm not calling a game, a girls game, I'm calling a boys game. I admittedly need to get out. I want to get out and watch some more. But you are exposed to all of these players through your Monster Lax, through everything. Mm-hmm. It's what you do.
Correct.
So I'm basing mine now, and you helped me come around to this decision. I'm basing it on what I've seen, okay? Now, I can say, all right, I should throw Morgan Schwab in there. She's a great kid. She's got numbers, but I'm not basing it on that. I'm going by what I've seen.
Okay.
Okay, so with that said, number 5, the epitome of consistency. You know where I'm talking about because you heard me say that this weekend. She is the model of consistency. She's persistent, and she's titanium tough. Meg Ellis.
Yep.
Meg Ellis, defender. What I love about defenders, shooters and scorers, they love the glory. Defenders want to rip that glory right away from them. They don't care about the cheers. They want you to not get the cheers. Yeah. And that's what I love about defenders, and she lives that lifestyle.
And I've been trying, you kind of just let the cat out of the bag a little bit, but I've been trying to keep my defense under the radar on my top.
Sorry, man.
Because I mean, you can look at the stats on GLAX and see who's scoring goals and who's getting draw controls and ground balls. But I mean, I can't argue with you. My defense, led by Meg Ellis, has been playing. I knock on wood, but they've been playing really well.
Nobody can argue that she's the leader of that defense, and your defense is playing very well. It's kept you in some games that you probably shouldn't have been in.
Absolutely.
When the offense is struggling, Brighton comes to mind.
Yeah,
but they had a really tough time. Your offense did, and we'll talk about that again when we get closer up. She's also a top that you can put her on any attack person and know that she's going to do the job.
Absolutely.
Okay, and that doesn't have to be face guarding. Number 4, Lexi Bernicki and Andra Savage are I'm going to combine the two.
Ooh,
all right?
2 from different schools.
Andra Savage she's a stud. I know she plays down on D, and that's when people want to go, it's a D school, man. Give me a break. I'll tell you what, I think she could hang and bang in B and A just as well as she does anywhere else.
She can.
Okay, absolutely. And without her, they do have Emma Arnold and Walker, but they're just not the same. Mm-hmm. They're not the same at all. So just strong, adaptable, and Lexi Bernicki loves to take advantage of her size.
The thing with Andra is, I know Andra very well and love Andra. She's one of my favorite kids. And she's obviously in a knee brace, right? Because she came off an ACL injury, right?
I called that game.
The question is, did you see her play before she hurt her knee?
Oh, yeah.
Because, oh, my God. I mean, this kid was fast, strong, right? And she's going to get back there. She's rehabilitating.
Yeah.
But, I mean, her without that knee brace on before, and she is just strong.
Towson, right?
Yeah, she's going to Towson. She's going to be a great player there.
That's a good pickup for Towson. Let's put it that way.
She's going to be a great player there.
Number 3, the Moonies.
Casey and Ellie.
Ellie and Casey. I throw them both in together. Reliable, talented, and leaders.
Yep.
Plain and simple. Pittsburgh wouldn't be where they are. I understand the Sampones. Haven't seen enough of them. I like the Moonies.
Okay.
They're 3.
Good call. Both from going to Notre Dame. One's older than the other.
Yep.
They're scoring in bunches. They work the ball. So those 2 are difference makers on the field. I'll say that.
Number 2, leadership skills, the wing play, and ground balls. Clancy Root and Emma O'Neill. Canandaigua wouldn't be where they are. I would put those 3 against anybody.
Well,
Anybody.
You got Abby in there too, or just Clancy and Emma?
Let me finish.
Okay,
man.
oh, sorry.
Let me finish, man. Which leads me to number one.
Okay.
She's been slowly working her way up. She busted in last week. She had an off night against Brighton.
Mm-hmm.
She's had a couple off nights on offense, okay? Turn the ball over a little bit, but you will never, ever see her take a play off. She won't take a second off. She'll come off the field to catch her breath, but she won't be off for very long. And when she comes back out, she's got one speed, and that's all out from one end of the field to the other. And she is kicking butt at draw controls. Abby Herod. She's a beast in transition. It looks like Canandaigua has gone from relying more on Clancy Root in transition to relying on Abby a little bit more. At least it looks like to me. And she'll give you 100% effort 100% of the time. Abby Herod is the new number one.
Abby Herod. And, she has played wonderful. And last week against HFL, she was outstanding. Brighton game was a slide for her. But you know what the best thing about Abby is? She's only in 9th grade.
She's a freshman. But she's a great kid.
Diaper dandy.
She is a great kid. She has great support from the Herod family. Mm-hmm. Great basketball player, too. She is she plays soccer, too, right? Doesn't she play soccer?
Sure. I think that soccer has come to
But anyway, Fitz is cracking the whip.
Yeah,
but
right.
So there you go. So how much do you disagree with any of my top picks?
I don't disagree with any of them.
Right on, man.
They're great picks.
All right. So Ronnie Davis said I'm awesome.
You're awesome. I don't know if we need. I think we should win or not win, but I think we should judge one game this week: Brighton-Pittsford. And tonight. We can do tonight's game too.
I'm going to go with Canandaigua tonight, and that's not favoritism. That's just I think Canandaigua's sitting on all 8. They're going to bounce back from playing on that Jurassic field on Friday.
Yeah.
And not to throw, East Syracuse Manoa under the bus. Please re-turf that field, man. Please resurface that field. So I'm picking Canandaigua in a close one. Okay. And if
Pittsburgh-Brighton is the next one.
Pittsburgh-Brighton, Pittsburgh. I'm choosing Pittsburgh. I just think Pittsburgh's too tough. And I think that might come down to a coaching decision. Mm-hmm. And I am just thinking that Donovan Lopez is on his point, on his game, and Pittsburgh. I think who is it that's playing? Penfield is going to be at Baldwinsville, and I think Beeville's going to win that game.
Beeville is.
Penfield's 2-0 against out-of-section teams. They beat Hamburg and Guilderland, but Baldwinsville beat Rush Henrietta, Brighton, and Irondequoit.
Yeah, Beeville's number 1 in the state in Class B.
Yeah, so okay, you got the Brighton and Pittsburgh on Wednesday. Yeah, that's going to be Pittsburgh.
Yeah. Well, thanks everyone for listening. Rockstars Girls Lex, and we will be back next Monday, same time, same channel, and we will recap everything we just talked about and get going, talking and going into sectionals.
Yeah, baby.
All right. Thanks so much.
See ya. I like it.
Rockstars.
Rockstars Girls Lacrosse.
Rockstars Girls Lacrosse.
The Rockstars Girls Lacrosse Show with hosts Ronnie Davis and Craig Spazman Simmons. Rockstars Girls Lacrosse.
Rockstars Girls Lacrosse.